All right, guys, can you hear me? Yes? Okay, cool. All right. Now, this is going to be an interesting breakdown. If you guys have not been here before somehow, I'm assuming this is just going to be my community, but if not, welcome. Um, yeah. Yeah, this is not what I was expecting, to say the least. I'm done being a fan this far after tonight. I get what you mean. Um, we'll go through the fights. I'll get to the Ilya fight. I know that's what everyone wants to hear about, but we'll go through it one by one. You guys know the general drill. Starting with Lopez versus Garcia. That fight went pretty much as expected, in all honesty. Not in that I got the pick right, but Garcia was going to be the better fighter overall. Garcia is also chinny and Diego has crazy power. So either Garcia would fight perfectly until he could find the finish or win the decision, or he would just get clipped at some point and die. Lopez just doesn't improve fight to fight, though. It's going to catch up to him. I can't see him going much further than this, but he got it done. Fair play to him. Relatively fun fight. Not the most action-packed, but like reasonable volume, and we got to the finish. Nickel versus Dawkins. Dawkins, yeah, I mean, he's just not quite that level. Easy takedown from Bo. The stand-up was a little weird, and I encouraged quick stand-ups because Nickel was actually landing damage. But whatever, they stood it up. Dawkins, especially after he starts taking a little damage, just gets significantly worse. I think I mentioned this in the breakdown before, but he had to have a plate put in, and after that, his durability is non-existent. Plate into his face, for reference. So, moving on to... Oh, a lot of people are asking me my opinions of, like, Nickel's performance. I thought it was fine, but his stand-up still looks not natural at all. Like, he has power, he can mix in his wrestling, it works, it's just not overly impressive. Alright, moving on to Rufy versus Chandler. There just wasn't anything to see here. Like Chandler just had nothing. Like, Rufy waited longer than I expected to try to start getting off, but he got his reads, punished it quickly. Rufy has pretty crazy power. Put Chandler away easily. I don't know why people thought this was going to be rounds 2 or 3. Like, Chandler always gets countered and clipped in round 1 if he's fighting anyone decent. So, yeah, that it was what it was. Puckett versus Lewis, this is where I have the semi-controversial take. I think most people agree with it, but I've definitely seen some people vehemently disagree. That was like a laughably terrible performance. I know, like, stats-wise, Hockett looked great, but realistically speaking here, like, Hockett didn't even know how to put hooks in, flatten someone out, do any real damage on the ground. He was having trouble passing Lewis's, like, sluggish guard that didn't even really exist, and then he was getting his wrist caught by Lewis and couldn't land elbows. Like, I don't know what he was doing there. And then round 2, he would have him rocked and then just back up at weird times, not know how to punish overextensions. Like on paper, good performance, but it looked horrific against someone like who he should have dispatched very, very easily in Derek Lewis here. So, yeah, I don't know what that was. The armbar was also just like, I know some people are saying he didn't want the armbar. I don't know about that. Like, there's no point then, because he would have had to, if he was trying to, like, showboat or something, there were much better ways to do it than that. So yeah, I'm not high on Hockett, to say the absolute least. It was small. Moving on to O'Malley versus Ayman Zahabi. I missed part of round 2. I had to walk away from PC for a second. But from what I did see, and I did see the finish as well, that, I mean, O'Malley looked reasonable. I expected him to look a little better, not gonna lie. For some reason, he wasn't throwing the counter right, and it felt like there were a lot of opportunities to do it, but he's just a different class of fighter than Ayman Zahabi is, so, like, this was never going to be competitive. Like, O'Malley, like him or not, is title level-ish. Zahabi is old, he's not durable, and so on. It was an early stoppage, to be honest, but whatever the case, like, yeah, O'Malley was going to get the knockout eventually, in all reality. Moving on to Gon versus Pereira. This was the surprise, not in that Gon winning is that shocking. I did lay out ways that Gon could win in the breakdown, even though I did ultimately pick Alex. What was surprising is, like, I don't know why Alex conceded the center of the octagon a lot of the time. Like, yes, he was having success with the calf kicks, but the way that you make Gon uncomfortable is you push him back, and it limits his weapons a lot. It was a performance from Alex, and a lot of people are asking if he was, like, seemed impaired or something. But I don't think he really did, to be honest. Like, he always has bad head movement, so that could catch up with him. And the surprising part is that his chin was not better at heavyweight. I think pretty much everyone, including myself, assumed that if Alex moved up, he would be able to take shots a lot better because he did have a massive weight cut to both middleweight and light heavyweight. Gon dropped him with pretty much nothing, and Gon does not have the heaviest hands, to say the least. So Alex's lack of fundamentals just kind of caught up to him, which is weird to say because, like, in theory, he should be the better kickboxer. But, like, not learning head movements after a long time is just not spectacular, to say the least. Where Alex goes from here, I don't know. I think he should probably retire. I think if he tries to cut back down to light heavyweight, he's going to be too slow and get knocked out by Elberg. At heavyweight, like, yeah, he could knock out Hackett most likely, but I don't think he's going to beat Gon, like, even in a rematch. Could he beat Aspinall? Honestly, he might have a better chance of beating Aspinall than Gon, but I don't know. It was just not one of those performances that makes you think that this fighter should really fight again. Like, the Pereira had no answer to the jab, which is something that, again, I mentioned could happen, but I wasn't expecting it to be that extreme, to say the least. Like, if anyone thought Gon was going to win, they probably thought it was going to be like, oh, like a round 4 or 5 TKO after Pereira gets tired, or a decision or something like that. TKO round 2 is just, yeah, not a good look. Anyways, what everyone's actually interested in. I'll start with saying, in a weird way, a lot of us saw this, we just didn't expect it. I've said many times that the way that Gaethje should be fighting this is to work his way into the clinch and dirty box constantly, because that is the only range in which he has an. And he implemented that extremely well. To the extent it was surprising. I did not think he was going to go single leg into, like, uppercut, stuff like that, and be able to get off damage that way. Like, Gaethje coming in with an excellent game plan was one of the last things that would have been on my bingo card for this event, to say the least. Now, in terms of everyone's asking as well, did Topuria seem impaired? Did he seem like a lot of people were talking about staph potentially because there was a weird photo and so on. I don't think it was that. I think he was just way too emotional and didn't fight properly. Like, I did expect him to be emotional. I didn't think it would end up mattering. But you could see that when he's fighting in round 1, he's getting clipped by jabs. And this is like, not that Gaethje has an underrated jab, I will say that. But you shouldn't really be getting clipped with jabs off Gaethje. That just should not be something that's happening. And the reason why it was happening is because Ilya was rushing forwards rather than setting things up with feints like he usually does. You usually see a lot of small movements from him before he engages, and he'll use his jab. He won't force the overhand entry, stuff like that. In round 1, he tried to force it, and he took a lot more damage than he usually does early in fights because of that, even though he was doing a bit more, in my opinion. Then in round 2, he realized, like, okay, I can't fight that stupidly, and he started actually using his feints, and we saw in round 2 that, yeah, it became a very one-sided fight once he was actually using his skill set properly. Like, round 2, I don't know how the judges didn't give it a 10-8. It was definitely a clear 10-8. And I actually think that Topuria made a massive tactical error here. Because when he got that knockdown, Gaethje was done. Like, his body was completely done. If Topuria told him to get up, I don't think he could have gotten up. I think the fight would have gotten stopped there. And even if he got up, 2-3 more punches to the body and the ref was going to stop it. So Ilya kind of threw the fight in round 2, and we wouldn't be having this conversation if he had the fight IQ to just stand up instead of going for, like, sloppy ground and pound from Mount and not great sub attempts. Then after round 2, it looked like he gassed out because, yeah, he had a pretty crazy output in round 2, which, and like, yeah, you can't do that for 25 minutes. So going into round 3, again, Gaethje's game plan from round 1 just started working better, basically. And the fight went from there. Like, Topuria, like, also, he had a chance to pull it back out. If Topuria Again, this is what's shocking to me because Taporia is usually fairly high fight IQ. But I might have to start like not ever factoring in fight IQ again because I feel like every time I say this, fighters end up doing something really stupid. But in round 4, as soon as he got the takedown, he had control. What he should have just been is like, what he should have done rather, is just been like, okay, I can hold this here, throw 3 punches a minute, and win the round. And it's not going to be pretty, but this also proves if I get 1 takedown, I can win the round. And then from there, he could probably take round 5 the same way. He decided to try to work towards a submission. Gaethje was able to get out. And then, of course, the fight ends how it ends. So I don't really know what he was doing this fight. Yeah, I think he was over emotional. And there are technical flaws. I've always said that Toporia's defense has issues. But the way he was fighting was just, I genuinely don't know. And sorry, I will start actually looking at chat now because I know I've not been answering any questions, but I wanted to get through the breakdown. So what's everyone saying? Ilya was spamming the right hand. Yeah, he went to the left hook a lot less than I thought he would. Ilya throwing the fight pissed me off. Yeah, I agree. Worst armbar attempts? Yeah, I'm not sure if you're talking about Hackett or Ilya, but they were both bad, yeah. This felt rigged. Not quite, but I get the feeling for sure, yeah. Gaethje's so tough. He definitely is tough, I will give him that. He's in over his head with his ego persona. He's a humble dude. He took time off to get a divorce and support alcoholics. I'm slightly confused what you're saying, but fair. Fighting with ego instead of game plan. Yeah, it felt like it. What's crazy is now we have a situation where Oliveira destroyed Gaethje, Topuria destroyed Oliveira, and now Gaethje gets the win over Topuria. So, like, do we give Oliveira another title shot if he can get a win? Because, yeah, I mean, Oliveira probably beats Gaethje again. Like, we saw in this fight that Gaethje has solid takedown defense, but it's not spectacular. And I have said that Charles probably hits naturally harder than Topuria, and I do think I stand by it, seeing this fight. So I could see Charles knocking out Gaethje again, or not knocking out, but whatever, knocking down Gaethje again. I could see Charles winning in a variety of ways. It's such a, I don't know, it's such a weird circumstance. Like, yeah, I don't think anyone expected this. Gon loves his back of the shot heads. Yeah, that was really... Ilya wanted the early finish so bad. Yeah, he did. Where did Per and Ilya go from here now? Pereira probably needs to retire. Like, he's old. There's not much more to prove that he can prove, in my opinion. Like, I don't think knocking out Hackett is worth it. Like, just walk away. You had a good career. If he really wants to go out on a win, maybe take some weird like high status fight rather than a competitive fight, if you know what I mean. Ilya, that's tough because normally I'd say like, oh, he's young, he can learn from this, whatever. When you have that type of personality, and McGregor's type of confidence is different than Ilya's, in the sense of like, McGregor lost early into his career. Losing was never like obviously he hates it, but it was never like oh, I am nothing if I lose type of thing. Well, Topuria feels like he has more of that mentality. So Topuria could learn from this and evolve dramatically and do very well. Don't know if he will, though. So we'll have to see what happens. Marco, almost everyone had worse than usual strike defense, by the way. I think something might be up. Yeah, I don't know. I get what you mean. I don't know. Gaethje is rolling all punches. Yes, he is good at rolling overhand. Sure. John Silva versus Topuria, hypothetical prediction. I think I'm moving back in the direction of John Silva because John Silva makes mistakes, don't get me wrong, and they are emotional mistakes also. But he doesn't really tend to make like tactical mistakes. Granted, Topuria may be more level-headed in another fight, but I feel like Jean could expose a lot of Taporia's issues. Ilya just walking into jabs. Yeah, I agree. I think Taporia is a bit weak. I mean, I don't think so. He's able to defend Oliveira's takedown. Why was nobody throwing body kicks this fight? Sorry, throwing kicks this card. Everyone was just boxing. To be fair, Ilya doesn't kick much. Gaethje was actually kicking a lot. He was throwing the head kick, which, I mean, as I was saying, it's not very effective if you don't set it up properly on Ilya, but he was throwing it. I think Nickel kicked a few times. Rufy kicked a few times. Hockey was throwing his weird front kicks. I don't think this card was all boxing. I understand what you mean, but I do think a lot of people were kicking. Doesn't Taporia versus Islam now? I still think Taporia is very bad stylistically for Islam, but obviously when someone demonstrates super low fight IQ, you can't be as confident. Are we getting the face reveal? Probably not. Nickel's improving every fight. I agree he is. I know he has technical defensive flaws, but dude was getting hit by some rights by Gaethje. Yeah, it was definitely worse than that. Do you think ring rust played a factor? Not really. I think it was just being way too aggressive. Arman next. I don't think Arman's getting a title shot because he keeps turning down the fights they offer him, and he was supposed to be back up here, and then he didn't show up. So Arman also is going to have the scandal because he was betting on this fight. So Arman, I would probably bet more that he never fights again than he gets a title shot now, in all honesty. Feels like psyops and demoralized now. I get what you mean. Skip Arman again. Yeah, let's go try. Yeah, fair enough. Really got deep into his legs, but he was gassed. Yeah, the takedown late for sure. First round, Taporia was just walking into right into Gaethje shots, not caring. I think he was too confident. Yeah, he was too confident, too emotional. He was trying to get it done way too quickly. How do you think Arman versus Gaethje goes? I would still pick Arman. I can't pick Gaethje. Thoughts on Taporia versus... Oh, yeah, I think I answered that already. Devastated Oracle. I get what you mean. That's a tough one, yeah. I left after they called it off. Did Ilya retire or anything? I don't think so. I mean, I didn't really see what happened after. This card is Doom and Despair valid. I'm studying Ilya, but no. In your opinion, did he not fight a bit different? Oh, he definitely fought differently, right? I was saying he didn't use his feints early. He rushed a lot more. I'm not going to say he fought how he normally did, but he also... It's a combination of things, right? Gaethje had a good game plan. Some of Taporia's flaws got exposed, and Taporia fought immensely stupid. He's never getting that rematch. He may or may not. I don't know. I genuinely don't know what the UFC is going to do because Gaethje as champion is really bad for the UFC. Because he's old, he's not going to be able to like defend the title much, and he's probably going to get smoked by the next person he fights. And like, if that's Arman, that's really bad for the UFC because UFC does not want Arman as champion with how unreliable he is. Granted, again, I don't think Arman's going to get the shot, so higher chance Taporia gets the rematch. Maybe even like Charles skips the line again. I wouldn't be shocked. We could also end up in a weird situation where like Rufy gets it if he gets a fight in quickly. Or even BSD. I mean, like, if BSD destroys Patty, he may just be able to call out Justin. We might live in the funniest timeline where BSD becomes champion. Because I'm not confident in BSD against Justin, don't get me wrong. But I do think he could probably beat Justin. Because if he gets Justin down, especially seeing how like easily Ilya just passed him out with like zero resistance, I think BSD would finish Gaethje on the ground. So I do think we might live in that timeline, which is hysterical. As exciting as tonight was, awful night for UFC and sport as a whole, going to create a massive superstar. Yeah, exactly. Pre-divorce Ilya is a legendary fighter, valid. Why did Ilya seem so hittable today? Too much rushing and didn't faint at all in round one. Does climate have an effect on cardio? Yes, it does. So that could be something. Would you favor Rufy over Taporia? Now I might. Before I was saying Rufy is the worst matchup for him, but I would probably pick Ilya. Now I might be like, this is a 50-50 fight, maybe leaning Rufy. We'd have to see. Great on John Silva on 55-45. Still valid, yeah. Must have been injured or had staph. No way. It's possible. Oracle's so behind on chat right now. Yes, I am. I'm trying to read through, but there's so many. Let's get more messages. I'm trying. Will Ilya improve from this? It's hard to say. But we'll have to see how he deals with having his confidence destroyed. Matchmaker for the lightweight title picture. It really depends on how impressive certain performances are. Rufi's been looking good, but obviously BSD smoked Rufi. So like if BSD smokes Addy, we could end up with Gaethje BSD. I'm gonna skip a few messages. Said you would do a double breakdown. Oh, true. I will get to last week, but everyone right now is listening to this week or is more worried about this week. So okay, I think I've been caught up. Is it crazy to say Ilya wins that fight most of the time? It's not crazy. Like he should. Obviously, had he just walked away in round 2, he probably does. But yeah, I mean, he can't fight like that. How do you see Gon versus Aspinall too? As much as I hate to say it, I'm probably going to pick Gon. I think Gon is finally actually taking his career seriously. And while I do think Aspinall would have caught him eventually in the first fight, I could see Gon dealing more damage in the second fight and it being a bigger problem. We need Silva versus Rufi for the pawn, not gonna lie. That'd be wild. What about Ilya versus Protas? It's still a rough matchup for Protas. I know what people are thinking, but at the same time, if Protas is going to back up so much and his overhand defense is not good, I think he could get clipped. I didn't think Gaethje took no damage. I mean, most of the damage he took was to the body. Would Hackett Gon be competitive? I don't think so. I think Gon would probably knock him out. It would take some time, but he would do it. Really would have won on decision if he won round 5. Dude, just 3? I'm not sure what you were trying to say, but fair. It's Topuria versus Dariush for science. Oh my god. This is the worst night I've had UFC wise ever, I think. Yeah, it's if you're a fan of both Alex and Topuria, it's a very, very rough night. I'm devastated. Do you think Ilya still has a path to an Islam fight? Or even close to the GOAT combos? He's young. He has a path to the GOAT combos if he rebounds from this well. But the Islam fight's probably not happening. The divorce mess with Ilya, let's be very real. I think that's a factor, yeah. Can't believe they use CGI for the fair. Do you think Rufi fights a wrestler now or another striker to secure a title shot? I mean, again, I would not mind Rufi Topuria. So I'm going to be pissing blood for a month afterwards. Yeah, probably. Ilya Islam at 170 who wins now. I still think Ilya would win. It's most disappointing Ilya versus Islam. Almost certainly won't happen now. Yeah, it sucks. Do you think Paddy could beat Topuria? No. Armin versus Ilya, who wins? I'd still pick Ilya there. I think his takedown defense would hold up. Thoughts on the knockout of Steve Garcia? I mean, good on Lopez for getting it done, but I didn't think it was a good performance. Seeing the Daggy fans after this is so annoying. Yeah, I get what you mean. Who were you picking, Islam versus Armin too? I was picking Islam by late TKO. Because Armin slows down. Islam does slow down also, to be fair. But I felt like Armin was going to have to expend a lot more energy in round 1 and would get finished late. Paddy versus BSD for the best head movements. Apparently better head movement than Alex Barra, though. Crazy. Ilya could have a GSP-esque path if he can rematch Justin or whoever Justin rematches. Yeah, true. Ilya still beats Islam, Armin and Islam, and he would beat Justin rematch. I do agree. It's just you can't be as confident now. Ilya looks really undersized. Could he drop to 145 again? He was having trouble making 145, so I don't think he could do it now. I also don't think he's undersized. Like, I know he's shorter, but like you could see he's still very powerful. I think Ilya's probably going to be fighting Paddy, and then Armin fights Justin. I mean, if Paddy beats BSD, which would surprise me a little, but it's possible, like, if he catches a sub. then I could see Ilya Patty. But if BSD beats Patty, then I think it's more likely Ilya Rufi. Ilya might need a sports psychologist now. Maybe. It really depends how he reacts to losing. Ilya shouldn't fight for a good 9 to 10 months. I agree, maybe more. People if Ilya wins a rematch. Yeah, everyone. People call me stupid for picking up Prime Dustin against Ilya. I mean, yeah, I don't think that was stupid. I was even saying before that Dustin would give Ilya issues, but I would probably still lean Ilya, but I wouldn't be shocked if Dustin won. Does Rufi beat everyone at lightweight? No, because he still has issues on the back foot, but he could definitely beat a lot of people. All right, I'm off Oracles. Stay away from sharp objects for a couple of weeks. Have a good night. We're going to have to listen to guys like Usman Nurmagomedov and Ali. That's why I just tune out from media for a while after fights like this. I don't think like... Okay, actually, I want your guys' opinions on things. Because a lot of people have been asking me to make more longer form content and such. And in general, I would like to. The biggest problem is I just haven't been able to like make it work monetarily. And right now I'm still a bit reliant on savings. I think I've mentioned this a few times. So it's tough for me to commit to something that's not making me money at the moment. So I am considering going with a suggestion a few of you guys had and putting content behind a Patreon. So more like podcast type contents, longer breakdowns, thoughts on prospects, stuff like that. Now the question is obviously, if I'm going to do it, I want to put the proper effort into it. So I need to know there's like actual interest. So I'm just going to do a few polls for you guys if it would actually be something you're interested in paying for. And like, be blunt, do not be nice about this because I need to actually know if it would make money if I'm going to commit to this. Put the poll up and I'll get back to questions. All right, where am I? They should have made Islam Ilya when they had a chance. Yeah, they should have. Gotta be up at 4 a.m. No idea how I'm supposed to sleep. I've just have a good night, Oracle. Have a good night, Ilya. John or Ilya. I'm still leaning, or sorry, I am leaning John now. I also think Ilya switching teams had an effect. I do as well, yeah. Mental and game plan, most important thing in MMA. I do agree to an extent. Ilya sold my fire. Rough one, yeah. Gaethje, the most underrated elite fighter. The weird thing is everything Gaethje does is just wrong, but he makes it work, so fair enough. Also, one thing before I go, you're slightly worried Ilya might have damaged his retina. His eye was definitely damaged. It could be a broken orbital. He's definitely going to have to take time. Armin just won like 7 million token title shot. I don't think he's going to be allowed to keep the 7 million, though, if he actually bet it. Will Ilya's chin be the same? He didn't really get knocked out, so I think he'll be okay. How good is Khabib? I mean, he's good, but he also didn't test himself against bad matchups. I actually like to press it. Ilya lost. I get what you mean. BSD gets the title shot. I mean, Armin title elimination. Yeah, especially if they don't want to give it to Armin, I would say BSD probably gets it. I think humidity made Topuria gas. It could play a role, but I don't think it was the sole reason. He put out a lot of output in round 2. Much more than he normally does. Topuria deserve a rematch. Only one title defense. It's hard to say, like, definitively yes. But it'll also put the division in a weird place if he doesn't, so I'm fine with it either way. I'm also going to stay away from X-Red for a while. Valid. Haircut ruined his aura. Fair. Ilya versus BSD, who you got? Ilya, probably. Not that I don't think like BSD could give him certain problems, because if he can pressure him backwards against the clinch again, I think he has a better clinch game than Gaethje. Ilya didn't headhunt, he would have won. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of ways. Like Jack Slack. Yeah, similar. Make YouTube build breakdowns. Thank you. Yeah, it's just a issue of the time it takes to make those because it would take me like 2 to 3 days to make them, which is obviously not something I can constantly do. Once I get a job, fair enough. Is Islam the undisputed king now? For now, probably. Yeah, because Alex failed the triple champ shot. Ilya just lost, so Islam should be for a while. What the hell is Garcia doing? He definitely could have won decision. Yeah, he could have won that, but that's how the fight was going to go. If he got clipped, he was going to lose most likely. Interviews and I'm not sure what the second word is, but fair, have very inflated the UFC market. Money. Yeah, I get what you mean. Do you think Ilya would still maul Islam? I still think he would probably win that, but I have to be less confident, of course. If BSD wins, does he get the title shot or him versus Armin for title? If they don't want to give it to Armin for reasons I mentioned before, then I think BSD gets, yeah. Who are Khabib's nightmare matchups? That's a good question. I think his era didn't have many for him. I think that there's a reason why he didn't want to fight Tony, Cowboy, and RDA in their respective primes. Now, could he have beaten all of them in their respective primes? Very possible. But he definitely stayed away from the Cowboy fight. We saw that, I think, twice. The Tony fight, he had some questionable pullouts, let's say. And then RDA, he turned down a title shot to fight RDA. So that definitely says something. And yes, I know he beat RDA the first time. RDA insisted he was injured and wanted to fight him again. So if he was actually offered a title shot and he turned it down, that does say something, in my opinion. You gotta do collabs. You're the best MMA YouTubers. I appreciate it. Yeah, I get what you mean. Who could be beat Ilya? It's really hard to say, but it's a very different style. Couldn't believe what I was watching. I didn't feel real. I get what you mean, yeah. Khabib Flagella, KG Ilya versus KG in Spain. Fair. Does Roofy cough and Patty? Probably. Justin needs to retire. Armin would destroy him. I somewhat agree there, yeah. Ilya just walked away after he dropped Gaethje. Does it get stuff? It's very possible because Gaethje was just crumpling. I don't think he was about to get up. I don't know what he was doing. I think Ilya, I don't know what you're saying there. Something at welterweight, seeing how much damage he wears. If he didn't ego round one, to be fair, I don't think he would have worn much damage. So I don't expect him to do that at welterweight, but I'm not going to say he's like unbeatable or anything. You think Alex fights in Chin's Hawkins to get back to the title shot? Do I think he fights him? No. If he did, do I think he would chin him? Yes. Everyone lost their undefeated records this year. Seems like it, yeah. Jones or Alex at heavyweight, light heavyweight, who wins? It's a good question because Jones doesn't really have the boxing to punish Alex's issues. And Alex still has really good takedown defense at this point. So maybe I'd still lean Alex, even though this was a really bad showing. I never thought of letting an opponent hurt by body shots try to get up. It followed with ground and pound. The problem with body shots is, remember, they're not knocked out. They're hurt. So if you start with body shots and then get mounted and start going to the head, they're going to recover because they're not concussed. So the way to finish body shots is let them get up and continue the body shot. Alvarma become champ again. Well, yeah, valid. Poeton was really that bad because so now I have. Okay, so I'm going to close the poll. So I wish that the poll was definitive one way or the other, because at like 41% yes, maybe it's viable, especially if I market it a fair amount, but I'm not sure, so I'm going to have to do more polls in the future. Let's watch with some friends that I hadn't seen in a while, and I was talking up to Poirier so much. Yeah, I get it. I get what you mean. It sucks. I'm okay with this outcome so long as Charles becomes champion, beats Gaethje. Yeah, he just needs to get to a title shot first. Crawford talking trash on X. Oh god. Likelihood of Charles becoming champ again. I mean, if he gets one more good win, if Gaethje is still champion, I think he gets it. Just the chance of him getting one more good win and getting to the title shot while Gaethje is still champ is not the highest in my opinion. The fights like the main event frustrate you as a fight analyst, considering it goes against any logic you could have used to analyze it. Kind of. In some ways it's validating, in some ways it's frustrating. Because I said two things that were very right about this fight, which is that, well, I said that Topuria would finish him with body strikes, which nearly happened. I also said what Gaethje has to do is get into the clinch and dirty blocks. Both of those were very true. So I can take some satisfaction from there at least. But in terms of like, as a fan of the UFC, and now we have like a champion who's old, who can't really defend the belt, and Topuria, who could have gone on to do greater things potentially, is like, that's up in the air now. That's a little rough. But that's more of a fan than an analyst, because as an analyst, I can be like, well, I can see how it came together, even if I think that with a level head, Topuria would have destroyed him. Is Alex chinny or has gone underrated power? Alex is chinny. Very chinny. Round 4 proved Ilya could have out-wrestled Gaethje from the start and won the fight, but he chose not to. He could have even just out-wrestled him in round 4 and 5 and taken the decision. Like Lito Charles becoming champ. Oh, yeah, I just answered that, I think. How about I become a fighter? You coach me. I mean, if you actually, you and pretty much anyone else is intending to go far, I can definitely work with you guys. Ilya needs a better team, potentially. Or any of us can sleep after this, valid. It's already late on a Sunday, crazy. Still believe Ilya beats Ryan Garcia in boxing. I'd lean towards maybe. And I know like everyone's like, oh, MMA fighters can't box, and they're gonna take this as validation. But there's no like dirty boxing in boxing like there is in MMA, if that makes any sense. And Garcia is also not someone who can dirty box. It's a very different stylistic issue. First fight since the Emmett that I've rooted for early in this win. It's my fault, I guess. Valid. How much do you think Ilya leaving his original team affected him? I heard he hasn't been training for a while. I mean, to be fair, I think he looked very good in the Oliveira fight. So I'm not going to say that was like a sole factor. I think it was more the divorce and other factors. Ian or Ilya at 170. That's a tough one. I'd have to think about it. Plus an Olberg versus Alex. Honestly, after tonight, I would probably have to take Olberg as much as I hate to do so, because I think he's just too fast and hits too hard. Garcia got beat by... Yeah, exactly. Ilya was used to pillow jabs of Vulcan Holloway, but he could... I don't think that was the issue, because he usually feints a lot more and uses a lot more like defensive shoulder rolling and such. Do you think Ilya and Alex still have chances of becoming goats? Ilya still has chances because he's young. Alex is not. Ilya lost when he came on those blue pants. Worst year for undefeated fighters? Unironically, yes. Does Yuri beat Alex in the trilogy? Yuri always has a chance. I don't know. It's always a tough one to call. McGregor versus Gaethje. Yeah, you know, this is so funny. Watch McGregor knock out Holloway, drop down to 155, and become champ again. Like, that would be the craziest but possible storyline here. Because I would definitely pick McGregor against Gaethje. McGregor against Holloway is slightly sketchier. I'm still probably going to pick McGregor, but it is sketchier. I'm not going to like say I'm wildly confident. McGregor versus Gaethje is probably McGregor knockout win. I want to see that rematch. Ilya needs. Like, fair. Do you think Alex should have stayed his natural weight? be fair, heavyweight is more his natural weight. What does Holloway do now? He can't beat Oliveira, Arman, Taporia, but beats Gaethje. It's so weird because now he's going. Actually, you know what? That's another possibility. I forgot Holloway was an option because if Holloway beats McGregor, which I don't think is going to happen, but it's very possible, and then drops down to 155, there's a chance they just give him the title shot immediately because he has the hype from the McGregor fight, and he has the win over Gaethje. Like, it's such a messy picture. Connor should do it. Yeah, it would be crazy. Why is Holloway fighting at 170? Just for the Connor fight. Who wins JDM versus Ilya 170? I'd probably lean Ilya, but not confident. Are you going to reveal your face at the industry? No, I'm not going to do it. Kind of crazy to me that there aren't a lot of good fighters with really good defense in the UFC. Do you think with someone with good defense can go far? Yes. I mean, good defense. Okay, if you look at statistically, the prospects who go furthest in the UFC, they're the ones with very high striking defense. So there is some reality in judging a prospect off their defense. I think Alex gained too much weight, but he didn't even gain that much weight is the crazy thing. Like, he was in the low 240s, I think, when he was fighting at light heavyweight. At heavyweight, he was like low 250s. So I don't know. Arman versus Charles 2 for vacant next. They choose never Arman. Sorry. Maybe again. I just don't think they're going to give Arman a title shot after all his controversy. Isn't Arman fighting Charles next? I think it was still a rumor. Gone versus Tom 2, who wins? I'd probably lean Gone. JDM beats tonight to 480. That's very possible. Do you like McGregor even with all the scandals and allegations? I mean, as a person, I'm not particularly attached to him anyway. I think stylistically, I respect him. I think I can separate those two. There are some fighters who are like so bad that I can't. I don't think McGregor's there though. Photon did look puffy though compared to Gunn. I mean, yeah, it was a fast weight class move up. If he had taken like 2 years, like Jones did, or whatever Jones took, 3 years, I don't know. Then it probably would have been more reasonable. Yeah. Who you got in Michael Oliveira versus Michael Oliveira. I hope Alexandre Topuria fights more now. The problem is he might fight less now. Because I could see him trying to double down on Ilya's career. Alex was extra stiff. I know he's stiff, extra stiff today. I mean, maybe I could agree with that to some extent. What's wild about this fight is that Ilya was the only one with a knockdown and only takedown in the fight according to stats and landed more significant strikes. Yeah, true. Thoughts on Rufi becoming champion? It's possible, but I still think he has a lot of weaknesses. Who beats a prime McGregor? I think Khabib was always going to be a tough matchup, even for a prime McGregor. Not that it was unwinnable for him. So that's a hard one. Other than that, I'm not sure if I'd really think of it. Bonfim versus Bilal breakdown? Sure, we'll do that. I'm gonna like very quickly go through the prelims and stuff because who cares? Souza versus Carnelossi. Carnelossi sucks. Souza knocks her out. Shocker. Chavez versus Dubin. We knew Dubin wasn't the best. We didn't know Chavez also wasn't good. So that ends up being a split decision that really should have been an early knockout for Chavez if she was at all decent. So surprising result, but whatever. Brito versus Levitt. I mean, this was just more evidence that like freaking Del Valle versus Bulgarian was rigged. Like, oh, Del Valle stuffs Bulgarian's takedowns and then gets ragdolled by Levitt, and then Levitt can't get a single takedown on Brito. Yeah, no, if Levitt can't get a takedown, he has nothing, basically, because he's just a point fighter who has zero power. So I was surprised that he couldn't get any takedowns, but yeah, I mean, fair play to Brito. It seems like his takedown defense got better. Chandler versus Priscilla, I mean, whatever, slop. I guess good performance from Chandler, but she got clipped first. She's still not great. Chairos versus Bruno Silva. I'm glad I got this one right because Chairos is just a better boxer, and Bruno Silva's wrestling was overrated from like being able to wrestle an injured opponent. McGee versus Giannis. I think a lot of you guys saw what I was talking about in that fight. McGee's not a good fighter. I think he just started MMA way too late. He never really developed the proper instincts. Giannis is not a crazy top guy, but like McGee, arguably, I think he lost one round to him, and another was like not close, but not that far separation either. So McGee's not going anywhere. He's way too old. He doesn't have the skills, and he just doesn't have the talent of the sport, in my opinion, even though he does have naturally heavy hands. Costa versus Schnell. I mean, Schnell got knocked out, shocker. Iwo Baraneski versus Junior Tafa. Good game plan from Baraneski. I mean, to be fair, what was discouraging is his takedowns really suck. But to be fair, his calf kicks are ridiculous. So if he could get his wrestling a little bit in check, he could go far. I mean, his hands are clean. He does leave himself a little bit open, but he's very naturally talented. Mitchell versus Luna. This was a little bit of a frustrating fight to watch because I feel like Luna has a lot of potential. Just didn't use any of it. Like, why would you try to counter wrestle Bryce Mitchell when you know you're the better boxer? Bryce technically got takedowns, but he got takedowns because Luna initiated the grappling after he stuffed the takedown. It was very strange. Good win for Bryce, fair play. I just feel like Luna could have done better. Nolan versus Ziam. Oh yeah, this is the one that shocked me. I have no idea what the hell Ziam was doing. I mean, to be fair, now Topuria has blown this one out of the water. So now this one isn't even shocking. Now it's the Topuria one. But I feel like I don't know how Ziam managed to lose this. Like, and I like Nolan. I respect Nolan as a fighter. And I do feel like he did improve his wrestling a bit. So fair enough there. But in round 2, Ziam could have gotten the round back by throwing like 3 extra punches. Chose not to and initiate the wrestling. Then in round 3, fought like all he needed to do was secure a close round and went to the grappling, got full mount. Instead of throwing elbows, decides to try to take the back. So, I don't know. Again, this is just more proof that fight IQ does not exist. So I'm going to assume from now on that every fighter is going to fight as stupidly as possible and just predict the fight based on that. Anyways, moving on to Brendan Allen versus Edmund Shabazian. So I'm actually surprised Shabazian was up in strikes because that like did not reflect the fight I thought I saw. Was it? What was? Huh. Maybe Allen was just landing a lot heavier and like Edmund was landing jabs or something. I don't remember rounds 2 or 3 being particularly close. And like by the stats, you'd honestly say that like Edmund won round 2. But I pretty remember clearly Allen winning round. I don't know what that is, whatever. But Allen, again, fights as risky as possible for no reason. He could have just wrestled more and like broken Edmund later very easily. Just wanted to strike the whole time. I mean, whatever, it worked, I guess. But like Allen's so unreliable because he'll always take the hardest path. Edmund's gotten way too tentative. His talent is his finishing ability. He needs to use it if he wants to win fights at a high level. Bonfim versus Bilal. I thought Bonfim would eventually get the finish, but to be fair, I expected Bilal to start panic wrestling a lot more once he realized that he was just outclassed on the feet. Bilal really sucks. Like, I know maybe people will finally start believing me when I say this. I've been saying this for years. Bilal is a terrible fighter. He has a chin and somewhat decent cardio, and that's it. He sucks at every single possible skill. He has no striking offense. He has no striking defense. His grappling offense is limited to like really bad ground and pound. He has no subs. He has no like, he doesn't even have like incredibly good takedown defense or anything. Or I shouldn't say he doesn't have great takedown defense. His takedown defense is probably his best defensive attribute. Obviously, he stuffed Brady's takedowns, whatever. Yeah, Bilal is just not, he's not a ranked level fighter. And the fact that he was a former champion is just like genuinely a disgrace to the sport. Bonfim, I would have liked for him to try to push for the finish a little bit more, but whatever, he outclassed the former champion. I get why. So yeah, Bilal is should either retire or just fight, I guess, on ranks until they cut him because he's not going to win another fight. Full analogy: any fighter can make stupid decisions, available, but the muscle memory that should probably matter. Yeah, apparently. JDM versus Morales and Ian. At this point, I have to lean both Morales and Ian, which, like, I feel like JDM has a lot of talent. He just doesn't use it. Is Leon Edwards equally terrible, or do you think he just fought stupidly? I think that Leon Edwards has very little heart, and if he gets behind in a fight, like people act like when he knocked out Usman, it was this great rally and impressive comeback. Yes, he set it up, but it wasn't like he started throwing out tons of head kicks and whatever and eventually found one shot. No, it's just like he was content with losing a decision. He threw something and it happened to land. It happened. But it doesn't mean that like Edwards was ever capable of coming back in a tough. Now, I do think Edwards is not great, but I do think his heart holds him back more than his skills do. Ziam cheated with the back of the headshots of round 3. He needs to chop. I'd have to relook it. I don't even remember that, but fair if that happened. John Silva versus Ilya, emotional breakdown overall. I'd lean Silva. Could Bonfim beat anyone in the top 5? Honestly, he could probably beat JDM right now. All right. Probably going to wrap it up here. Appreciate you guys coming. Crazy events, crazy results. I still don't even fully know how to feel about it. But we'll see how things go from here. This sport is always crazy and manages to surprise no matter what. So have a good night, guys. I will see you guys for the stream next week. And yeah, hopefully next event is interesting.